Hey, I'm Alexandra Harbushka, founder of Life With Herpes. We're gonna talk to you about how HSV1 is not always oral herpes. All right, there's a lot of misconceptions when we talk about HSV1, HSV2, oral herpes, genital herpes. Do I have what here, over there, down there? Okay, so let's just clear that up. Let's just start from step one. So there's two types of herpes. There's HSV1 and HSV2. Originally, we thought herpes was just herpes. Actually, there's a lot more different variants of herpes. There's like hundreds of different types. But in today's lesson, we're just gonna talk about the herpes that we think of as oral and genital. So we didn't really know the difference between type 1 and type 2. We just thought if you got herpes here on your mouth, it was oral herpes. If you got herpes here on your genitals, then it was genital herpes. It wasn't until about 40 years ago we were able to say, oh wait, there's two different types. There's type 1 and type 2. What's really the difference? Not that much. They both cause blisters. They're they cause the same annoying blisters. They look the same. You have the same symptoms, but they are just a little bit different. HSV1 is the most common. It's 2 out of 3 people, or 3.7 billion people have HSV1, and 1 out of 6 have HSV2. So it's definitely something that more people have HSV1 orally, or have HSV1. So it can be oral or it can be genital. Originally, we just thought when you were diagnosed, it was a clinical diagnosis, meaning there wasn't blood work done or any swabbing of the cells done. So a lot of times you were just clinically diagnosed, meaning the doctor looked at it and said, oh, it's oral herpes because it looks like herpes. And they're like, oh, well, it's oral herpes because it's oral. Or, oh, it's genital herpes because it's genital. By the way, guys, it's like really cold out here. It's like 30-something degrees. Anyways, so then when we talk a little bit about, okay, well, when people go, I have it down here, but it's oral herpes, what happened? Okay, so people are the herpes virus will go either way. It prefers the oral region, but it will also go to the genital region if you give it the opportunity. So I have a couple of theories on why we're getting a lot more cases of oral herpes down here. So my first theory is education, right? We're not educating our youth in sex ed about herpes. Herpes really isn't, especially oral herpes, it's not really being brought up as like, hey, through oral sex, it can get transmitted genitally. So many people now are getting genital herpes that's from the oral, from oral region, right? From having oral sex. A lot of times too, we use like oral sex as a safe sex method when it's not. Every STD, STI can be transmitted the exact same way that like vaginal or anal sex can be transmitted. So we go like, oh yeah, well, I don't have a condom, or I don't really know you, or whatever, like we'll just have oral sex. Well, yeah, it still can get transmitted. The next reason, that these are all my hypotheses, I don't know what I say that right, but they're all my thoughts here on this, is the next is that we've done a really good job in recent generations on protecting our youth from getting cold sores or oral herpes. So, you're sent home from school if you have an oral outbreak, or you're sent home from daycare, or our parents knew kind of what it was, like, oh, it's a cold sore or herpes, like I can transmit it to my child. So we've done a good job of protecting our youth from getting it. So they're not getting it in their youth and teen years orally. They're still gonna get it because it's so rampant that we're getting it now genitally. The next thing, which kind of contradicts what I was just saying, but sometimes people don't realize that a cold sore, AKA fever blister, AKA herpes, is all herpes and it is contagious. So people don't necessarily realize, or they might realize that, but they'll be like, oh, well, it's just a cold sore. I can't give it to you genitally. And you can. People think it just oral stays oral and genital stays genital, and that's not necessarily what happens. So there's just a lot of like here, there, everywhere that it can kind of go if you give it the opportunity. Yeah, I'm trying to think if I left anything out on that about cold sores, oral herpes happening down there. Again, it's very, very common. I've seen a statistic saying that 50% of people being diagnosed with genital herpes are actually HSV1. So again, it is really common. All right, if you have more questions on this of like, how did I get this down there or over there? please let me know below. I would love to answer. I'd love to create another video for you as well. And like I said, there's a ton of information on this. I have a toolkit. It's the Herpes Outbreak Toolkit. There's tons of information on what herpes is, how to prevent outbreaks, how to prevent or how to kind of heal the speeding process faster. Also how to even start those conversations about talking to a partner. So I have that. Would love for you, if you have more questions, you can download it. I will see you soon in the next video. Thanks for watching and let me know what else you want to see. Bye.